Good afternoon and welcome. We're out here on Fairbairn Avenue today, really just to provide you an update with our investigation into relation to a shooting that happened here last night at approximately 7 p.m. We were called to this location in relation to a check welfare or a check well-being call, which really highlights the precarious nature of such calls. So here we are coming to a check well-being call. Upon our arrival, we're greeted at the door by a 24-year-old man who exits the home with a gunshot to his leg. So that's what we're greeted and what our officers are met with. From there follows an intense investigation in which we attempted to ascertain why and how this came to be. As a result of that investigation and heavy police presence, 3 individuals were charged, and as you've received updated charges related to what they are currently facing in court. Of this, our individual who was shot and our 3 people who were arrested, none of whom are from our city. A 22-year-old man was arrested and charged here in our city, and he comes from St. Catharines. He's facing a number of charges, however, he has no previous criminal record. Also arrested was a 16-year-old youth from the city of Whitby. He also has no criminal record. However, he is currently out on an undertaking or on bail for robbery with a firearm. So previous violent offenses involving a firearm. The 3rd individual who was charged is a 15-year-old Ajax youth, again, with no criminal record. We seized a quantity of fentanyl and Canadian currency as a result of this particular investigation, and as you'll see behind me right now, that investigation is continuing. The individual who was shot was not from Peterborough. That individual was from the city of Oshawa. And while that individual has no criminal record, they too are out on bail for violent offenses, including robbery with a firearm. What I'd like to really stress here today, because I hear it in our neighborhood and I understand the concerns our community has. And that is, when people see something that's out of the ordinary, we need them to say something. All too often we're finding communities feel that they don't report for a variety of reasons, whether they think there's a futility in reporting, whether they feel that there's a fear in reporting. There are avenues in which people can report suspicious activity or concerning activity to the police. Chief among those is Crime Stoppers. It's an underutilized resource in which people can report anonymously to the police, and they don't need to report just once. If there are multiple instances of concern, report multiple instances. It will be actioned. It may not happen overnight as quickly as people might like, but it will be actioned. And that's something I really need to stress to people. If you see something, say something. Tell someone. We can't go if we don't know. Please, that's one thing I would like to stress as a result of this. I've heard some concerns about this as being the 2nd shooting in as little as a week. In each of these cases, those shootings were not random acts of violence. The individuals who were involved were all known to each other. Last night's shooting was a case of violence brought to our city, not violence originating in our city. In this case, we had a housing unit takeover. And as a result of that, this is what came. We need our people in our community to know that if they feel at all victimized, if they feel vulnerable, to please report it. If you're not comfortable, and I will say that again, if you are not comfortable reporting directly to the police, please use Crime Stoppers, either online or via telephone, to report that. It is anonymous. Even if you have no expectations of collecting on the financial reward, it is another means by which you can report criminal activity in an anonymous and safe fashion. We have had 2 shootings this year. It is something that we monitor. It's something that we try and respond to as quickly as we can. There have been arrests in both of our shootings so far this year. And it's something that we will continue to address. I'd just like to stress again that these shootings are targeted events. They were not random acts of violence in our community, and I think that's important for our citizens to hear and our citizens to know. The vast majority of the people in our community will never encounter a firearms-related crime, and those that have so far this year and last year were all known to one another when they took place. I don't have a lot that I can tell you specific to the investigation. We are currently executing a search warrant looking for further evidence in the home right now. The individual who was shot still remains in hospital, and we intend to interview that person as best we can when they're able to provide some information. When that information is received, that will determine the next direction of our investigation.